Hey guys, if you have been looking for the easiest tutorial on peplum top, then this video is perfect for you because I'll be explaining in details how to sew a peplum top with gathers at the down parts, a bishop collar and button in front. You're definitely going to learn a lot from today's video, so just keep watching. Okay, so you'll be needing 2 yards of fabric for this particular style depending on your body size. And what I did first is to place my fabric on fold right like this, and the length and width of the fabric is as shown. So we are going to be cutting for the back pattern first before we cut the front, and we are not going to be using any pattern paper for this. I'll be cutting directly on the fabric. So the first thing to do is, on a straight line, you're going to mark out your bust line, and then you go up by 2 inches, and that will be your chest line. Then after that, you also mark out your back waistline measurements. So take note, we are drafting the back pattern, so that's why we are using our back waistline measurements, which is 15. I'll do the same thing on the other side of the fabric, and I'm going to draw a straight line connecting these points together as shown. Okay, so after that, the next thing we are going to do is I'm going to divide my shoulder by 2, and I'll mark it right here. I'll also mark the shoulder divided by 2 on the chest line right there, and then from this point I'll come down by 1 inch, while here I'm going to mark 2.5 inches. I'm using 2.5 inches because this is a bishop collar and we are drafting directly on our fabric, so the allowance is already there. So I'll connect it like this, and then I'll connect it all the way to the chest line like this. Then from this point I'm going to go down by 1 inch for the neck depth, and with my front curve I'm going to connect it like this. So after you're done in the chest line, I'm going to divide my bust by 4. I'll mark it there, and I'll add 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. And then from this point I'll divide this line by 2. With my front curve I'm going to connect it all the way to the bust measurement like this, drawing the curve. And then on the waistline I'm going to divide my waist by 4, and I'll mark extra 1.5 inches for sewing allowance, and I'll connect it drawing a slanted line like this. Then after we are done, I'm going to add half an inch there, and I'll cut it out. So by the time we are done cutting, this is what we have. I added half an inch on the shoulder and no allowance on the armhole, and that's all for the back pattern. So for the front, I have my piece of fabric. It is not on fold, as you can see right here, and the length and width of the fabric is as shown. So mind you, your own body measurements can be more or less, right? Then the next thing we're going to do is to go in by 2 inches from here, and then after that I'll mark half an inch upward like this, drawing a straight line. And then from that point I'm going to mark out my bust measurement, which is 10 inches right here. And then I'll also mark out my waistline measurements, that is my front waistline measurement. So my front waistline measurement is 16 inches. Then from here I'm going to go up by 2 inches, and this will be my chest line for this dress. And then from this point I'm going to divide my shoulder by 2, and I'll mark it. So pay attention to the way I place my measuring tape while marking these points. Then here I'll go down by 1 inch, and I'll connect it to the chest line, drawing a straight line. Then after that I'll mark my neck width of 2.5, just like we did for the back. I'll mark 2.5 for the front as well. And then for the neck depth I'm going to be using 2.5. Unlike the back that we use 1, for the front we are using 2.5, and I'll connect it all the way to the shoulder like this. So on the chest line I'm going to divide my bust by 4, and I'll add 1.5 inch for sewing allowance, while on the waistline I'm going to divide my waist by 4, and I'll add 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay, so after we are done connecting it like this, the next thing we're going to do, I will divide my bust span by 2, and I'll mark it on the bust line like this. So from here, remember our front waistline is 16 inches while our back waistline is 15. So 16 minus 15 is 1. So I'll just go down by 1 inch from this point. While here I'll go by 1.5 inches, and I'll connect it all the way to the side seam like this. So remember we already added sewing allowance to this, so I'm just going to extend the line to 1.5 inches so that we'll be able to have 1 inch. So if your difference is 1.5, you can go ahead and mark 1.5 and connect it. Then from here, I'm going to divide it by 2 and I'll go in by half an inch like this. And with my front curve, I'm going to connect from the shoulder through the half an inch point all the way to our bust measurement like this. So with this, we have the curve for the front. And then now I'll just go ahead and extend this line to that 2 inches point that we left. Mind you, the 2 inches that we left is for the button that we are going to be adding in front. Then after that, we are just going to go ahead and cut. So when you're cutting, you just have to angle that side seam a little bit so that by the time we are taking the dart, the line will still be straight after we are done taking the dart. So at this point, I've taken my dart and this is what we have. So I just sewed it on my sewing machine, closing that point like this. And by the time you open it up, I pinned down that 2 inches point, okay? After pinning it down, I'll just open it up and this is what we have. So now I'll be joining the back to the front at the shoulder and also at the side seam. After you're done joining, this is what we have by the time you are done. So just go ahead and open this up and you're going to measure from that 2 inches point all the way to the 2 inches point on the other side. And then right here I have my piece of fabric. The length of it is about 11 inches, while the width of it is 90 inches. And I got this by timesing whatever my waist measurement is. I timesed it by 3 and I added extra 4 inches to it. So mine is 90 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the gather stitch from here all the way to the other side. So make sure you leave 2 inches away from it before you start running your gather stitch. And then you go ahead and gather it. After you're done gathering, this is what we have right here. As you can see, the 2 inches point is still left there. And on the other side, there's also 2 inches points left without gathers. Then now just go ahead and place the down part of the dress to the upper parts. And you're going to be sewing it together. Make sure the gathers is even on all sides and you're going to be joining it using half an inch sewing allowance. So for this, for both sides, you're going to make sure you leave the 2 inches points that we left earlier. So at this point, I've gone ahead to sew it and this is what we have. And I've also gone ahead to iron my sewing allowance, that 2 inches point. So I ironed half an inch inward and then I ironed 1 inch inward again. So this is what we have. So just go ahead and sew it from the up all the way down like this. And you can also go ahead and weave your dress at this point. Okay, so after you're done sewing, this is what we have right here. And now I'm going to be drafting out the bishop collar for this. So to do this, I'm going to place my fabric on fold like this and I'm going to measure from the center to the midpoint, that is where the shoulder is, all the way to the back. So where the shoulder stop to the front is about 4.5, while where the shoulder stop to the back is 3 inches. So what I'm going to do, I have my piece of pattern paper here and I will mark 3 inches, which is for the back first, before I will now mark the 4.5, which is for the front. So from that 3 inches point, mark the 4.5 or whatever your measurement is. Then while from here, I'm going to go up by 1.25 inches, which is the length of the collar that I want. I'll draw a straight line like this. And then from this point, I'll go up by 0.5 inch and I'll connect it with my front curve like this. Then from this 0.5 inch point, I'm going to mark out my 1.25 inches, which is the length of the collar. And I'll connect it to this point like this. While from here, I'm going to go in by 1 inch and I'm going to curve it all the way down. And I'll go ahead and cut it out. So this is the back and this is the front. I added half an inch sewing allowance all round. So after we are done cutting, you can go ahead and notch the midpoint of this and you go ahead and cut out exactly what we have here. So we're going to be having one for the lining and the other one for the main fabric. So for the main fabric, I've added interfacing to it and I'm just going to take this to the iron. I'm just going to iron this half an inch inward like this. So after you're done ironing it, you're going to be joining the lining to the main fabric. So I'll be joining it at the upper part and I'll be using my half an inch sewing allowance. So after joining, I'm going to cut out the excess. And then now I'll be attaching it to the neckline of the dress. So when you're attaching it, make sure you face the lining of the collar to the back side of the dress. At this point, I was joining it to the front, but I later corrected it to the back side. So as you can see, this is what it's supposed to look like. So the lining the collar, you'll be attaching it to the back part of the dress, and by the time you're done, this is what it looks like. So now just go ahead and fold it inward like that. Make sure you push the 1/2 inch sewing allowance inside the collar, turn it to the right side, and then you pin it down so that when you are sewing, it's not going to be shaking. And then when you take this to the sewing machine, sew it all around from the left side to the right side, and this is what we have right here. So after that, the next thing to do now is to add the sleeve and also to hem the down part of the dress. So for the sleeve, I have another piece of fabric right here that I'll be using for the sleeve, and the length and width of the fabric is as shown. So like I said, you can use your own body measurements for this. Yours can be bigger than mine. So after that, I'm just going to divide my bust by 12, and I'll add 1.5 inches to it. So what I got is about 4.5, and I'll just be marking it on this point, drawing a straight line like this. Then from here, I'm going to be marking my chest line, which is 8 inches, and I'll go in by 1 inch from that point. So from this 1 inch point, I'm going to connect it, slanting it all the way to the tip of the fabric, and I'll find the midpoint. And then from that midpoint, I'll go up by 1/2 inch, and with my front curve, I'm going to connect it the way I am showing you right now. So after you're done connecting, this is the crown of the sleeve. So for the length of the sleeve, I'm using 16 inches for mine. Yours can be longer or shorter. Then now I'll go ahead and draw a straight line. So mind you, I use 15 inches plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, that is 16. So after that, I will just be marking out the width of the sleeve. So this is dependent on how wide you want it to be. For mine, I used about 12 inches. Add 1 inch for sewing allowance right there, and I'll extend it all the way down, drawing a straight line, while I'll connect it all the way to the crown, drawing a slanted line like this. So after I'm done, I'll just cut this out, and I'll face right side together like this. So from this point now, I'll just be going in by 1/2 inch like this, so that this part will be for the front, while this side will be, the other side will be for the back. So now I'm going to be joining the sleeve to the dress at the armhole area. So in order to do this, just the way you add your sleeve to any dress, is the same thing you're going to do. Just add it around the crown of the armhole. Then after you're done, this is what we have. I've also gone ahead to close the side seam of both the left side and the right side. So now just go ahead and hem this inward like this, and leave about 1 inch opening there so that we can pass our elastic through it. So this is the elastic we are using. The width of the elastic is 8 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass it through the hole that we left while we were sewing. I'll pass it through to the other side. And after we are done, I'm just going to secure this in place so that it does not come out, and I'll close the opening that we left earlier. After this, what is left now is to add your button to the dress. You create your button hole and add those buttons. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on my next one.